Misty Forest can become another tool in fleshing out the Forgotten Realms setting in the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. While you can certainly skip through most of the adventuring in this location, I'm here to provide you with some extended source material and ideas in case you're not entirely happy with what's going on as written. You're watching Loose and Dice, and I'm your bard, Volkert. Surprisingly, D&D source books do not have a lot of information about the Misty Forest, only general overviews of the area, and I always go for research before running a location because it does the job of fleshing it out, making it an immersive experience while saving some time writing it on my own. I don't want this to be just a forest with some villages, which the only difference they have from other villages is that elves live here, and also just a dragon lair somewhere deeper in the woods. Why is this location worthy of starring in your game? After all, Misty Forest is also the kingdom ruled by King Melandrog, one of the council members. When the question of the Emerald Enclave in investigating dragon attacks rises at the council, the king is like, nah, everything's fine, my patrols handled it. Then you go down there and you're under the impression that there's one half-destroyed village and the other villages are completely wiped off or about to be destroyed. There's no elven army, no signs of King Melandrog's power here whatsoever. Where is his residence? Where are his patrols that handle the dragon attacks? Where are the Eldritch Elven Knights mentioned as pledged resources from this guy? If anything, this contradiction between King Melandrog's reaction and the reality would possibly make someone think that he tries to conceal something. This is his kingdom. He has to be well informed about what's happening down there, and surely he is expected to care about his people. So okay, we don't get to witness the might of the Misty Forest kingdom. No army, no nothing. Why are we trying to please King Melandrog at the council then? I mean the scorecard and everything. If he can't protect his little kingdom from a single dragon, how are his wood elves useful in the upcoming raging conflict? Okay, he also speaks for the elves of the High Forest, but putting a person of such questionable competence as an ambassador for your entire nation now would make me question their logic as well. And beyond that, we have absolutely no information about the High Forest and its leaders. Who are they? Nobody knows. Moving on from the elves, where is the Emerald Enclave and its druids and rangers? They're initiators of this mission, and they were behind the reconnaissance. Why aren't we meeting them at a cool spy camp where they provide us with the briefing about their scouting of the area, the current situation? They have druids, for God's sake. The trees and animals should have told them everything about what's going on in the forest. How can a huge dragon hide from them amongst so many allies? What is everybody doing in this world? Does anybody do anything useful at all? And the players are expected to ask the Raven of the Warden, hey, your master looks suspicious. Well, the book just shrugs it off by saying the Emerald Enclave's agents have been working with the support of Prince Olgarthus to prevent a new round of attacks, and they're scattered throughout the Misty Forest, and the players are conveniently pointed towards the actual right trail that starts in the village Altant and ends at the Tooth Lair. The entire investigation in Altant seems extremely boring and dragging to me. The Galen character has some promise of depth, but needs some work to make him memorable. The village of Altant is fleshed out just enough to make it a little 2-minute narrative rather than an actual gameplay. My take would be, instead of wasting time fixing this boring story, invest the time in creating your own piece of narrative. Show the players an elven war camp, led by Prince Olgarthus. Show the elves as badass guerrilla fighters. They have imprisoned cultists, there are bodies of young dragons in the camp, because why not? There should be more dragons flying around, far more. It has to be like, hell yeah, these guys have been busy. We want these guys on our side in the war. When the players show up, Prince Olgarthus might greet them and say something like, okay, we're about to pinpoint the bastard's lair, we just have to interrogate this last cultist. You want to participate? Or something like that. Check out the previous video in this series for information on the prince. Long story short, Tooth is his old nemesis. His eyes spark with dreams of revenge. He wants to get there with the party and place the final blow upon the dragon's neck. And the meeting with his half-brother should also be very interesting and surprising. You can also tell the story of the Misty Forest through role-playing the prince. Show his pain and nostalgia. He always wished for more for his people and struggled to make this dream come true, and now this goddamn cult has created such a huge setback, devastating his homeland. Beyond that, what's worth giving a little thought is, what are the reaches of the Misty Forest? Like, what do the elves manufacture that makes robbing those villages worth it for an errand vein? What are the trade relationships with the neighboring settlements? How does the situation affect those settlements that possibly relied upon this trade? What if some minor human lord decided to send a little help squad to his allies? All this is not really necessary, but I really like and appreciate when logic is what supports the idea or even drives it. The crazy fantasy stuff is good, but it becomes so much better when you can actually follow it and predict some of it. So there you go, just formulating those questions should get the gears in your head started. Even writing all this made me want to rerun this chapter again with some fresh approaches. For the dessert, I'm going to share some flavor information about the Misty Forest that I've dug from various editions of D&D. The Misty Forest draws its name from the fog that rolls off the heights of the moor to shroud its trees. Melandrock, King of the Woods, rules here and holds the forest as the exclusive domain of the elves. Though game animals roam in plenty, the local humans know well that the elves protect them and punish trespassers who poach in the forest. Even barbarians know better than to hunt here, as they don't wish to draw Melandrock's attention or ire. Travelers who leave the inhabitants of the Misty Forest alone and who build their campfires small and solely of fallen branches are usually permitted to pass, so long as the folk of the forest aren't in foul mood or steered up against outsiders for some other reason. Some previous editions don't even mention the existence of some sort of kingdom, just a small community of wild elves. Check this out. This forest of pine and other evergreens covers the slopes of the western approaches to the high moor. It gets its name because of the mists and fog which creep down from the high moor, making navigation difficult on even the best of days. This forest is partially patrolled by the local rangers, and several druids have shrines here. There is also a small community of wild elves who work with the druids and have some druids of their own. The barbarians of the High Moor come into the forest for hunting and wood gathering. The orcs of the High Moor use the protection of the forest for approaches to the tradeway. Deer dwell in the Misty Forest, though travelers are warned that the elves who dwell there consider the forest their own private game preserve. The only deer outsiders can hunt without risking a few elven arrows are those that stray from the forest onto the moors or down into the coastal hilllands where the tradeway runs. Wood elves, hypsils, druids and rangers move comfortably through the fogs of this evergreen forest. Hypsils are small centaur-looking fey creatures. They can create a sort of bizarre impression of this place and stick with the player's memories. Even though they're small, they can perfectly defend themselves with poisoned weapons and even spells. Also, they can see invisibility at will. So creatures other than the mentioned ones have the uncomfortable sense that they don't truly belong on its wooden slopes, particularly not the savage orcs and the barbarians that occasionally sneak through the forest from the High Moor to strike at the neighboring tradeway. Though the Misty Forest's wood elves are loath to admit it, they perform a valuable service for caravans and other travelers headed to Daggerford, Secomber and Boriskir Bridge, providing temporary respite from the constant vigilance required to survive the attention of the creatures that infest the High Moor. That's it for today's episode. Be sure to subscribe and set the notification bell to all notifications so you won't miss the new episodes where we further explore the Tyranny of Dragons. If you enjoy my work, you can support Loose and Dice on Patreon and get some nice rewards like custom D&D content, interactive content, and original fantasy music. An even easier way to support Loose and Dice is by following the channel on social media and sharing the videos with your friends and communities. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.